I had some of the best times of my life working in senior care. I mean, the assisted living community is fun, fun, fun. I mean, don't dread moving to assisted living or looking at assisted living. Your life can really begin at 80. Hi everyone, I'm Cathy Ellis from Senior Care Options. May of 2020, and we're here at the stay-at-home orders, so I thought, why not do what I love to do best? Educate you on the many senior care options. Normally, I love to speak at clubs, organizations, churches, senior care communities, senior centers, and really explain to you about my life's work, which has been spending over 40 years in the senior care industry. Yes, I started when I was 19, but after that, I went to college, and then I spent 24 years managing large assisted living communities. And this week is kind of ironic that I'm doing this because I made a big decision in May of 2013, 7 years ago. I left my job as an executive director at one of the finest senior care communities in San Diego County. But my heart just told me I wanted to help people find senior care options at all price points. See, this was a very resort community, and it cost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month, and I wanted to help people at all price points. So, after much thought and contemplation, less than a year later, we started Senior Care Options in 2014. So we're celebrating 6 years Senior Care Options. I wanted to help people find assisted living options, but I also wanted to educate them on staying at home and how to pay for it. So today we're going to have my 30 to 40 to an hour long presentation condensed down in just 10 minutes. And we're going to go over, should I stay home or should I move, and all the different options. And the best part about it is Medicare going to pay for it? Are there other benefits geared for seniors? We're going to start out with in-home care. In-home care, everybody wants to stay home. We all love our homes. But sometimes in-home care is not going to be a great option because it costs $25 and up per hour. But if you only need 4 to 8 hours a week, it might be very affordable, and you can still live in your own home. But if you need 24-hour care, it can, cost anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And for most, we know so many wonderful in-home care companies. So if in-home care is what you'd like, I always suggest have those in-home care companies not just sit there and watch over you, but while they're there, they can help you with some dishes, some gardening, some laundry. They can be your companion, then hopefully they can take you out to stores on a scenic ride. It can be just wonderful to have some in-home care. But the next option is independent living. And basically independent living is basically renting an apartment that also provides meals and maybe even some utilities. Now, a lot of people will say, why would I leave my own home if I just need meals cooked? I can look at other options for that. And we do have many other options for and resources on our website, which I'm going to give you a few times during this video, which is seniorcareoptions.org. It is just chock full. My husband Mike has just put so many great resources on it the last 6 years. It's just getting more and more valuable all the time. So check out Senior Care Options. But we know so many good in-home care companies, so call us about that. And then independent living with meals. If you'd like to have meals brought to your home, there are so many great services now that will provide meals. So you may not want to go for the independent living option. And most people, what I would suggest, if I were going to look for a community, I would find a community that feels independent, has assisted living, maybe even memory care if you need it down the line. And those are like a multi-use assisted living community. It's like a campus. That is a wonderful option. You can just feel the life, the vitality when you walk in the door. That's what we do. But we drill down because with my 35, 40 years experience, you can't fool me. I check out community care licensing reports. I look at all the different employment websites to see, how their turnover is. If they're always going through nurses and administrators, it's not a healthy property. So this is not a real estate transaction. You really need to know an insider's point of view of how healthy is that property. I always start out my lecture saying, I'm going to talk to you about the good, the bad, and the ugly about senior living. And then I say, I'm just kidding, because you know what? I really miss being in a senior community. I did spend, like I told you, over 35 years working in senior communities, and I really had the time of my life. So when you look at your assisted living communities, I'd like you to look at one of our other videos that's on our website. It will show the swimming pools, the parties, the dances, the barbecues, the lectures, the book clubs, the out to lunch bunches. It's really a lot about socialization. So the food and activities play a real huge part in that, the choice you're going to make. It's, you expect good care, but you also want to have that socialization. How many of you are sitting at home thinking, or are thinking about your parents, and you're thinking, they're not getting a whole lot of socialization? If you're home all day long watching the national news about the election, the fighting going back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans, if you're listening all day long about the death toll and how many people are contracting COVID-19, that is really not a very healthy environment. What assisted living has to offer is a whole array of fun and activities. Even if you do not participate in anything, just walking or with assistance, wheeling or walking, to the dining room 3 times a day is way more socialization than most people are getting at home. So I do think assisted living, whether it's independent assisted or a more frail assisted, is really a great healthy alternative. What if you need memory care? How do you know if you can be in assisted living or if you need to be in a secured memory care community? Well, that's really up to the doctor. And if you call us or email us, I can go into more detail about that. If you think you might be leaning in that direction, or your loved one is, go to an independent living community that does not offer memory care. Then you're going to have another move. And every time you move, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a little bit pricey. So we can go into more detail with that over the telephone or in person later on. But another great option, and basically one of the reasons why I decided to start Senior Care Options 6 years ago, is I love to educate people about the 6 or 10 or 12 bed board and care home. They are licensed by the Department of Social Services, just like a large assisted living community, but there's only 6 or 10 people, usually only 6 people to that home. And it's a residential care home. It's a residential home. You may even have one in your own neighborhood. And they take wonderful care. They generally have 2 employees on, staff members during the day for 6. And they'll have at least 1 on the second shift. And most of them are now going towards awake staff at night. Some do not have awake staff at night. But you're going to get a lot more one-on-one attention in a small board and care. Do they have the same type of food and activities you'd find in a larger community? No. So you're going to have to weigh that. Is it more important that, because my mom's a huge fall risk, that she get that attention in a board and care, where they're going to be really like keeping a close eye on her, or can she be in her own apartment and just push her emergency call button? Now, even if you're in a large community, they can check on you as often as probably every 2 hours around the clock. That is just going to be part of your care plan. You don't even have to push your button if you need assistance. They're going to automatically be checking on you or your loved one. But let me warn you, there is a base rate for your apartment, and which includes all your meals and most of your utilities except for your telephone. But those extra care charges are going to be separate. So everything you want that senior community to do for you, whether it's my mom needs to be checked every 2 hours, she needs to be escorted to the dining room, there may be assistance with bathing or dressing or medications. Let me just warn you that all of those will be additional charges. Each community does it a little differently. There's point systems, and it's all based on a face-to-face assessment as well as your doctor's physician's report. If the doctor feels like your medications need to be administered, then the senior community is going to have to, by law, administer your medications. If you feel that the doctor put something on the report that is not accurate, then it is your right to go back and ask the doctor to evaluate the situation. Again, every case, every scenario is completely individual. So I've spoken about in-home care, independent living options. Then there's the assisted living along with independent living and memory care. There's the board and care homes. Okay. And then there's these beautiful large resort communities. Some of them even have ocean views. And those are called continuing care retirement communities, a CCRC. And at a continuing care retirement community, it's actually also known as a buy-in. You're basically buying the right to live there. And most of them start at $200,000 to $300,000 and up. So I won't go into a lot of detail about that. Unfortunately, most people cannot afford that or would not want to tie up their entire life savings in a continuing care retirement community. But they are wonderful if you can afford them, and we can go into more detail about that. And then, you're hearing on the news so much now about the nursing homes. The nursing homes have lots of issues with COVID-19, or they're understaffed or over whatever the situation is. An assisted living facility is not a nursing home. Skilled nursing facilities are licensed by the Department of Health Services. They are a medical facility. They employ nurses around the clock. You can have an IV. You can have prohibited health conditions that are not welcome in assisted living. You also can get very intensive rehab that is covered by Medicare. Medicare and Medi-Cal will cover skilled nursing facilities to a point. You can call me and I can give you more detail on that. Some assisted living communities now are covered by Medicaid or Medi-Cal in California. And I can give you more details about that. It's a very special, very limited program. But there's also something called the VA Veterans Aid and Attendance Benefit, that if you served in the military for at least 90 days and at least 1 day during active wartime, or even if your spouse served in the military and you weren't divorced, you might be eligible for anywhere from, I'll just give you a range, from around $1,300 to about $2,000 a month. VA aid and attendance, depending on your situation. But it is based on your finances, so some people that have a lot of money in the bank will not be eligible. But we can go into more detail on that, and we also have some great resources on our website. So as you can see, we can go into a lot more detail about veterans benefits, hospice care, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, all in a personal conversation. But some of those things will or may pay towards assisted living or skilled nursing. Again, this is Cathy Ellis with Senior Care Options, and I highly recommend know your options. I will say, because of the pandemic, there are some very good move-in incentives right now, so please contact me. We are a free service. We are paid by the facility if a placement does occur. But if you'd like to look at your options for today, tomorrow, or the future, give us a call. We're a family-owned business, Senior Care Options. We cover San Diego and Orange counties. Thank you. Your life can really begin at 80 in assisted living. There is a daily itinerary. There's a menu with better food, and I love to eat and cook, than most of us ever have at home. There's lots of variety, lots of activities, so much fun. There is so much to look forward to. It's really a healthier alternative than sitting at home and watching the news every day.